Hey, Scrappin Ames fans, and welcome back to video number 4 of our Sunday Scraplift Sisters, where myself and my scrappy bestie, Scrappy Cheeky Lauren, we scraplift some of our lovely scrapbookers. Today we are doing the lovely Laura Alberts, that's how we say her name, and we're doing one of her latest 12 by 12s, and I have to say I absolutely adore how this layout turned out. So we're using some distress oxides today. I think it's a series she's running where she used distress oxides, some fun with distress oxides. So grabbed the cracked pistachio, I think it is, distress oxide, run it across the back of the black cardstock, just your regular Kaiser Craft cardstock. And then I've just smooshed some into some packaging and then just used the fan brush here to with a bit of water and just flicked it across to make some splatters on my page. Now it's not as vibrant once it dries, which is also something I think she found when she used the oxides in the which wasn't the same color, in her video as well. I will post a link in the description box below for the video, her video as well. So always taking credit, making sure we credit our person we scraplift from. Now I'm using here, these papers are from the We Run the World collection from Flutterby Designs, tangled. And I've just got 3 photos here of my daughter. I've trimmed them down a bit, taken off the excess space around the photo, because in Laura Albert's video she uses 3 photos, but they're quite a small size, and I'm trying not to reprint photos. I'm trying to just use up the photos that are in my photo box. So I'm trying to stick to that scrappy resolution and get these photos scrapped that are there, so I can then move on to the next lot and catch up. So that's what I've done. So these 3 photos, the one on the left is my daughter at the end of January last year, where we took her to get her school uniform for kindergarten, because she started kindergarten last year. And the other 2 are just a random photo I took of one of her first reader book that she brought home when she started doing her readers. And just one I randomly took of her walking in front of me, and one day when I picked her up from school, and I was just like, oh my God, how did we get here? She's like in kindergarten. How did we get here? You know, you have those moments where, geez, one minute I was, holding you in my arms, hours old, and now I'm holding your hand, walking you out of the school gate. It's just phenomenal. Anyway, so as per our scraplifter, the lovely Laura, I am layering my photos, and they're a bit wonky, as they're supposed to be, and then the second layer, which is the darker layer of paper, is slightly askew, which is exactly how they are in the original video. So they're not perfectly straight, which gives it that a bit of interest, I think, a bit of visual interest, as opposed to having everything, which I have to admit, this was really tricky for me, and I actually edited out where I didn't. I lifted the photos up and nearly straightened them, and then realized I didn't have to straighten them. They needed to, and I actually really struggled with them not being straight and having to deliberately make them wonky and askew, and it really actually was a big struggle. So at first I was like, this isn't sitting right, and then to me it didn't look right, even look right in a wonky way, and yeah, the OCD in me, where everything has to be straight lines, is just, yep. So even looking at it now, I'm like, that's really not even all that wonky, Amy, but that's okay. It works. It was the best I could personally do. Anyway, so just popping it on some double-sided foam tape, and just popped it across the middle of that big swipey mess of distress oxide, which I really like the way that looks. I actually haven't tried this technique before. So as I said to my my partner in crime here, Lauren, when we messaged to say that we've done the layout and all the rest of it, and I was like, I've just learned a new technique. I'm really loving what some of these scrap lifts are teaching me, which was really nice. It's pretty cool, bit of a bonus. But as I said, I really loved how this layout turned out, and I wasn't sure what color I would use. It wasn't meant to be a blue, like from this here looking at the video, it has turned out to turn into a bit of a bluer color. It was meant to be that cracked pistachio, if you have the distress oxide, is a pale kind of green to match in with the green of her shirt and then the book color, and there's lots of greens in the pictures, but it hasn't quite gone that way. It's sort of as it dried, it kind of went into a bit of a more lighter blue color. So that's okay, it all worked out in the end. So going with the same sort of theme of title as, well, not theme, but colour title as Laura Alberts did, and that was with the white foam thickers, which I discovered going through my stash. I really don't have that many white foam thickers, and these ones actually are a bit of a strange one where you actually have a layer of paper over the top and you peel them off and they're sticky. So I had to be really careful because I obviously don't want that layer to come off because I didn't want to put glitter or emboss them or anything like that. So but they were the only foam thicker I had that I liked and that had all the letters on it that would spell anything that I could for a big title. So I wanted to go with the big title as per the original layout. And yeah, so this was as good as it got, I guess. Our little schoolgirl. I was going to go with our little kindergartner, and then I was like, that's a bit too long. So I went with our little schoolgirl. And then underneath I have just written kindergarten 2018 because in Laura's original layout, she has 3 sort of bigger, it's like a saying, and then underneath it's got oh my. She's written in scripty font, but I don't need to have that sort of layout title, so I have just written that. So then, as she does, I've added 2 branding strips down the bottom to create a bit of a border, just to block everything in. Now, unfortunately, silly me for some reason, had paused my camera and then didn't realize I hadn't gone back and pressed play. So you did miss where I did my right and left embellishment clusters there. So as you can see on the top left there of that photo, and then the right bottom next to school, the word school, I've done my 2 embellishment clusters, which you'll see close-ups. I've done some wood veneers, some little floral pieces, some little coloured hearts from Flutterby Designs as well, a little tiny words, because some bits and pieces from Cocoa Vanilla Studio is there as well, Pink Fresh Studio, just some bits and pieces from my stash. And then do this little cluster in the bottom right here, as per the original layout. And I really struggled with doing this bottom right. Now, whether or not it's because it's later in the afternoon, as you can hear, I'm yawning a little bit. It's now later in the evening, and I was a bit tired, and I've been out in the sun a fair bit today. I'm quite a bit sunburnt as the night's wearing on. I'm discovering it's more and more coming out, which, whoops, a daisy. And so I'm a bit brain drained. But yeah, I had struggled a little bit to get this little cluster finished. I just could not get it happening. It was driving me nuts. But yeah, it was there. It happened. It eventually happened. I just popped in some wood veneer and away I went there. So yeah, but yeah, I really was, I have to say, this is one of my favorite all-time layouts, and I know it's a Scraplift, and I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but I do really love how I managed to get this layout to come together. Yeah, really am. So I'm just adding in some little sprinkly bits here of some acrylic shapes. Now, I actually don't ad-lib anything with this layout. I pretty much, when I do a Scraplift, I'm trying to keep to it when I do these videos, I think, for the most part, to keep it a true Scraplift. Unlike when I do sketches and things like that, I sort of add my own flair to it. And try and keep with the colour theme here when I'm using these acrylic. I think I use stars here, not hearts. Yeah, stars. I was going to go with hearts, but I decided to go with the star just to tie in with the pink star next to that cluster, or in that cluster in the left. I love that aqua of those acrylic pieces. Oh, I love that colour. It's beautiful. Turquoise, aqua, whatever you call it. Now, I do learn from the lovely Laura's mistake here, and she sprinkles her gold Heidi Shine on her layout and then realizes that she needs to journal and puts her hand in wet Heidi Top Color Shine. I do happen to change that and do it the other way around, so I don't put my hand in wet Heidi Shine. Oh, this was the other thing she did, which I found really tricky because my washi was probably not the best. She gets a piece of washi tape and rips it in half, so she gets that ragged edge look here, and this is to balance out the border at the bottom with the two burning strips. Now, again, something I wouldn't think of doing, especially with washi, but it looks really cool. It's another way of using washi and adding a border, you know, aside from using just a doodly border. Yeah, and using burning strips. So something definitely I think I'll add to another layout soon. I really loved the way that that looked. That gave a different edge to the layout in particular. So yeah, there's that. I added my bit of journaling there, as you can see, using my white Uniball pen. I've added some sprinkling of gold Heidi Shine around the clusters, as did Laura. And then the layout, I think, is done. So I've got some close-ups in the end coming up. Don't forget to go and check out Scrappy Cheeky Lauren's video as well, and I will leave a link to the original. Thanks so much for watching. See you next Sunday. Bye.